Hey Google, svenska köttbullar.
In Swedish, you would say stengbula.
Svenska köttbullar.
Shuttle på means shuttle on in Swedish.
No. Hey Google, svenska köttbullar.
Here are some results from the web.
Give up. I obviously can't speak Swedish. Right guys, welcome back to the channel, and as you can guess by the title, we're kind of taking a bit of a break from the Pantry-demic recipes series. I've kind of done quite a few recipes on that, and I just thought, let's do something fun. Let's do something a bit interesting, something fun, just to kind of lift our mood a bit. So what we're going to do is this thing here, the IKEA meatball recipe, or so they say. Okay, this thing has been all over the internet. Since IKEA put it up on their Twitter page, everyone's gone bonkers about it, so I'm going to do the same. Now, I am not convinced. I'm going to say that out now. I don't buy it. The ingredients on this recipe, I'm just not so sure, okay? There are things missing, and I'm just not kind of convinced, but we shall give it a go nonetheless. Now, I imagine with this recipe, IKEA have kind of trimmed it down a bit, you know? They've left out some ingredients that perhaps they would normally use, because given the current circumstances, some things might be harder to get or more expensive. So that's my theory on things. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments below. Now, I've prepped everything already, got everything sliced, diced, measured, weighed, whatever. So if you get your face down here, the first thing we need to do is make the meatballs. Right, so let's see what we've got to do. So I've got all my meatball ingredients here, and it says, meatballs, combine the beef and pork mince and mix with your fingers to break up any lumps. Now, I'm imagining that the beef is going to give it that meaty flavour, whereas the pork has kind of got the fat. So that's going to keep it nice and moist and unctuous. So then it says to add the finely chopped onion. Now, it really didn't specify the size of the onion, so I've just sort of gone for a medium size. Then add the garlic. Okay, minced garlic. 1 clove doesn't really seem like enough to me, but hey, it's not my recipe, so if it's trash, it's not my fault. Breadcrumbs. I'm using panko because that's what I've got, but I'm sure you could use any kind of breadcrumb you like. In they go. And the egg. In it goes. Plop. And then it just says to mix it up. Okay. I'll mix it up then. Then it says to add the milk. Okay, in we go. And salt and pepper. Okay, well I'm going to need to wash my hands then, aren't I? So salt and pepper then. Now it doesn't specify amounts, it just says generous. So I'm going to add some white pepper. It doesn't say white or black, so we'll just kind of see. Be quite generous. And plenty of salt. So what I'm going to do is get my hands in there and continue mixing that into one harmonious lump of delicious meaty goodness. So I'll see you folks in a bit once that's done. Right, so I've got the meatball mixture here. Seems well mixed up to me. The next instruction says, shape mixture into small round balls, place on a clean plate, cover and store in the fridge for 2 hours, as this will help them hold their shape whilst cooking. Yeah, I ain't got 2 hours. So what I'm going to do is make them into balls and then stick them in the freezer for a bit. So let's get on and do it. Svenska köttbullar.
Svenska köttbullar.
Well, would you look at that magnificent display of Swedish balls. Köttbullar. With all the good intentions of the world, I am not going to make my way through about 40 odd meatballs. So what I'm going to do is just portion myself some up, whack them in the freezer to set up, and I'm going to kind of stick the rest of these in the freezer for another day. So once I've done that, I'll see you guys in a bit. So next step says, in a frying pan, heat oil on a medium heat. When hot, gently add the meatballs and brown on all sides. Got some vegetable oil here. Whack it on a heat. Wrong hob. Actually, I should put that one on because that's for my mash. So I'm going to wait for this oil to heat up and then we're going to fry off the meatballs. Right, I think that oil's hot enough. So let's get the meatballs in. And as per the instructions, I'm going to fry these off until they're nice and golden brown and then transfer them to an oven-proof dish with a lid And then it says add that to the oven at 180 degrees C or 160 degrees fan assisted and cook for 30 minutes. So the meatballs are in the oven, they need to cook for 30 minutes. So what we can do now is get on and make the sauce. Right, okay, the sauce then. So what does it say to do? Right, to make the iconic Swedish cream sauce, melt 40 grams of butter in a pan and then whisk in 40 grams of plain flour and stir for 2 minutes. Okay, in we go. Get in, and the rest of it. Doesn't say what temperature, so I'm going to put this onto a medium heat. Okay, so the butter is melted. I'm going to add the flour. Basically, what we're making here is a roux. So I'm going to cook this out for about 2 minutes before we add the other stuff. Okay, so that's been cooking for a couple of minutes. Now I'm going to add the beef stock and the vegetable stock. Keep that whisking, get all those bits out as well. So I'm going to let that stock heat up a bit, and then we'll add the other stuff. Okay, right, so after about a minute of stirring, it's gone really, really thick. So what does it say to do then? Okay, so it says to add 150 ml of double cream, so we'll get that in. In we go. And the soy sauce and the Dijon mustard. And it doesn't say to add any salt and pepper, so I'm not going to add it. And it says bring to a simmer and allow to thicken. Well, that's pretty thick already. So what I'm going to do is just kind of keep that nice and warm until the mashed potatoes are done, the meatballs are finished cooking, and then we can serve this up. Cannot wait. Okay, all right. We are ready to serve up. Everything is cooked. Got my mash done, the meatballs are cooked. And there is a bunch load of sauce to go on that. So what do we do next, IKEA? Well, all it says is when ready to eat, serve with your favourite potatoes, either creamy mash or mini new boiled potatoes, and enjoy. And that I will, IKEA, but I will be the judge of that. So I'm going to go on with our mashed potato first. Yeah, I'm going to have all of it, all of it. Then I'm going to add, that's hot, the meatballs. Next, we're going to add some of our delicious creamy sauce. Now, I haven't tasted any of this beforehand, so this is a first. I just want some of that to moat itself round. The next thing I'm going to add is some cranberry sauce. Now, I know what you're all thinking. I know what you're all thinking.
You're like, what the f***, Adam, where's the lingonberries?
Right, where am I supposed to get lingonberry jam? Can't get it from IKEA because they're bloody closed. So I'm having to make do with cranberry sauce. It's fairly similar, so that's what I'm having. So that's all ready to go. Let's give it a taste. Right, let's give this a whirl. Smells nice. I'm just gonna dive straight in for one of these meatballs. Get some of that sauce. Let's go in. It's really good. But there is something missing. And I think I know what that is. I think it's the allspice. They are delicious, don't get me wrong. That sauce could do with a bit more seasoning. Now, I don't know whether that's because I used light soy sauce, but it doesn't really specify in the recipe whether to use light or dark. So I think a bit more salt would have done in that sauce. And the meatball texture isn't quite what I remember. I haven't been to IKEA for a long time, but I distinctly remember that the meatballs in IKEA were quite smooth, you know? These are kind of a bit rougher in texture. If you kind of miss your IKEA meatballs and you want your fix, this is a quick shortcut to kind of get somewhere where you want to be. It's not as close as I'd want it to be, but it's a really good meal. I think it's clear that I need to revisit these and kind of add my own touches, do a bit of research, kind of tweak this recipe to kind of make my own version. This is really delicious. I'm not going to knock it. It's a very flavoursome meatball, but I don't know, it just lacks something. I can't put my finger on it, but I think some of it is going to be the allspice, the method of cooking, the texture of the meatballs. I think the sauce needs some work. But if you've got any suggestions, then please leave them in the comments. I'm really kind of looking for your kind of pointers here. Oh, I've left the cooker on. Oh dear. But anyway, that's the end of the video. Gonna wrap this up. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed it, then please like, share and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. And remember, if you do subscribe, make sure to click the bell icon. That way you get notified of all my uploads. And remember to stay safe, stay calm, look out for each other, and I'll see your gorgeous faces in the next video. And bye for now. Svenska köttbullar. Köttbullar. Svenska köttbullar. Svenska köttbullar.